Well, hello there. This is Dr. Sydney Steen. I am the senior minister and spiritual leader of the North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. We are a oneness center for spiritual living. And I just want to invite you to something that I think is really, really special. In October, from the 6th to the 10th, at Unity Village in Lee Summit, Missouri, the affiliated New Thought Network will be hosting the most wonderful retreat. This will serve your soul. It will lift your heart. And oh my goodness, I want to call it an advance. So come hear wonderful speakers like Martha Creek, Sonny Cantrell, and the music will be off the hook with Ricky Byers. There will be so much there to support your soul. I hope that you will join us. You can go to antn.org. That's antn.org. You can get all the information. You can sign up. You can use a credit card, and it is safe and secure, and I hope to see you there. Have a blessed day.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev Briz and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ministers Talking Beep. I'm Rev Skip along with Rev Bill, and we're co-hosting today. We are subbing in for our beloved Dr. Briz and Reverend Z, and they're at a conference in Vegas, so they must be having some fun. Rev Bill,
and
what do you think?
Whatever they're doing is going to stay there. That'll be just fine. And it's wonderful to see you again, Skip. And
It's good to see you.
I spent so much time in broadcast radio back when the 7 words you couldn't say on radio and TV were actually a thing that I can't bring myself to say out loud. So fortunately today I get to say Ministers Talking Skip.
Hey, I love that. I love that. You know, it's so funny because Dr. Steen, Reverend Dr. Sydney Steen, she's my senior minister. I'm the assistant minister at North Hollywood Church Religious Science, and we always talk about it. Ministers have the worst potty mouth. We walk around the back of our office just saying some stuff like, I'm not going to tell you what we say, but...
Yep.
Hey, so how you been, brother? You've been out in Philly, and I've been in LA, and the last time I got a chance to be physically with you was in Florida. How you been?
I've been doing well, doing busy, and actually I intentionally chose that promotion for the Anton retreat because that's something that I'm hugely involved in. I'm one of the co-chairs of the retreat and also the Anton administrator. So I have been up to my eyeballs in retreat preparation, and this year is going to be spectacular. And I also chose that one because I knew that Sydney's your senior minister now. So kind of let the crossing the beams, as they say. And just a quick shout out for the retreat event. And what I say about this is that if Unity Village, a visit to Unity Village is not on your bucket list, you need a bigger bucket because it is spectacular. It is the biggest New Thought property in North America, and it just feels loving and spiritual. And the Anton retreat takes that usual feeling and kicks it up 10 or 12 notches. And if you're saying, well, how can I possibly go? That's less than a month away, all the usual grumbling. You can take part in the whole retreat virtually because we're doing it on Zoom and YouTube Live, including a huge open house that's on Tuesday night, the 7th of October, which is going to be a community concert with Ricky Byers, and Martha Creek is doing a talk, and Skip's probably going to be singing, and it's a great thing. So you can still register for that and get all the recordings. So it is a lineup of notables.
Have you done the labyrinth there? Because you know they've redone the labyrinth from years past, and I was just there last October, and it was probably one of the most incredible labyrinth I've ever had a chance to walk.
Yeah.
And while I'm walking this new labyrinth, this is tears are flowing. There's something energetic. It's a vortex. It is
Yep.
a vortex on that ground. It is, and it shifts your vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna love the Labyrinth Walk this year, because ever since I've been going to Anton, I think since Anton's been doing conferences and retreats, which goes back
Yeah.
over 30 years, there's always a candlelit Labyrinth Walk. They always do it at a place that has a
Mm,
labyrinth. It's been at Unity Village for the last almost 10 years now. Um, and it used to be there's a labyrinth that's painted in a parking lot there. And it's a 90
right.
foot across labyrinth. And they built a stone paver labyrinth, which is the one that you walked on, which is the same
Yeah.
size. And it's the only labyrinth I've ever seen that has benches in the middle, so you can go and walk in and then sit on the benches and
It's so
reflect for the walk.
powerful.
It's wonderful. But we've continued the tradition at Anton of doing a candlelight labyrinth walk. So we'll put 150 candles out on the labyrinth, and then you get to walk it at night. And the first time we did it on the stone labyrinth was a full moon, and it was just captivating to be able to spend
Wow.
an evening in early October out there. So yeah, and that's kind of reflective of what happens at Unity Village when the Anton Retreat is going on. Is that the usual cool stuff like the labyrinth walk that you have
Yeah.
already done gets taken up a notch.
That's great. I'm so
Yeah.
excited, looking forward to it. And my friend Ricky Byers is doing the music. It's going to be a
Yep.
concert. We're going to have a good old time. A good old time. I'm grateful. Grateful,
Yeah.
grateful. So
So
we're here to kind of talk about what's going on in the world and what we're seeing, and what, it's a lot going on that we could talk. We could talk for hours, but we don't have hours. So, but I think the biggest thing that I know that I that's been on my heart is the recent, things that have happened with Charlie Kirk, and it's on
yeah.
every news, every reel I'm seeing on YouTube. People are talking about it. And if you don't know about Charlie Kirk, and I have my notes here, I'm a note person from old school podcasting, so I got my notes. He's the founder of Turn Point USA. Was shot and killed September 10th. It was during a event at Utah Valley University, and it was very interesting. He was known for saying that for us to have gun rights, we have to have a little gun violence. That was his
Hmm.
biggest statement, besides anti-trans, anti-LGBT, anti anything that is other than white, male, gender, anything that was other, he was against. And that was his message. That was his talk. And for me, I have to say, listen, first of all, I do not condone gun violence. In fact, I am about we need to have more gun control. But what comes in my mind that I've been contemplating is, do we reap what we sow? Cause and effect. If we put it
Hmm.
out there and we were saying this, is this the law of attraction coming back? And again, this is what I'm contemplating. I'm talking beep here so that I may
Hmm.
get clear in my head. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, the big picture of all of this is the law of cause and effect and the law of attraction. So all of the crap that's been coming out, all of the lies and the hypocrisy and everything else, eventually it's going to level out. And my hope is that enough of the structure of our civilization will survive to be able to build something back again. I saw a great video of it only takes a few minutes to destroy something, but it takes a long time to build it. And the video was of Trump Tower in the Trump Casino in Atlantic City getting torn down, because that thing came down quick, but it takes a long time to build a successful anything. And we've done a really good job of tearing things apart, but the building back is actually, it takes some work. As far as the Charlie Kirk thing, I disagreed with almost everything that he said.
Yeah.
And still with that, the answer is to argue with him rather than have somebody assassinate him. And the thing that is most disheartening to me is that as soon as it happened, all of the progressives, all of the libs said, we need to put a stop to gun violence. We've got to stop doing this. We've got to find a way to speak civilly to each other. And all the conservatives said, we've got a civil war with the libs. We have to fight them and beat them and shoot them and do to them what we've perceived that they're doing to us. And that's not how you have a civilized discourse. And unfortunately, if you've got a bunch of people who are peaceful and a bunch of people who are bullies, and they start going at it with each other, the bullies are going to do really well to begin with, because the peaceful people don't want to participate in that nonsense. And I think that's a lot of what's going on now. And
I was going to say, brother, one of the things that, I believe, and I've been hearing, is that the reason why we are in the place that we're in, because we do not know how to fight back as liberals, as progressives, as those who are looking to create a world that works for everyone. And I am also very clear of, in long terms, I go back to Einstein, you cannot solve the problem on the level of the problem. So is this more of the problem? And is this going to exacerbate into something bigger, which it already has?
It already has. We've got more political violence now than we've had in a long time.
In a very long time.
And yeah, I mean, fortunately, the people who want peace and harmony and freedom, etc., know what to do and know how to do it. And unfortunately, the people who are causing the chaos are doing a full court press. What they learned last time is just flood the zone, do as much as you can all at once. My email is filled with, we have to stop this and we have to stop that and we have to stop the other thing and we have to make sure that this happens. And there's a Supreme Court election in Pennsylvania coming up in November.
Yep.
And the question on the ballot is, should we retain these 3 justices or judges on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court? And usually that's a no-brainer question. Like, unless they've been doing something bad, they get retained. But they are Democrat and progressively oriented judges, and they realize that if they get them out of there, there's going to be another election. And so the conservatives are spending huge amounts of money to have them rejected so that they can get new judges, so that when the Republican legislature redraws the district maps, it's gerrymandered in favor of the Republicans. And really, I mean, that's a long game, and it's hypocrisy, to say that the election was stolen and then, set about stealing the election.
And we have the same vote that's happening here in California. Not with our justices, but we're putting on the vote. Is it possible to, we are in favor of, doing this movement and creating a space where we're going to win more seats? And that's what it is winning more seats. And I'm brought back to this whole foundation, the roots of politics. It was designed to do what it's doing. Partisanship is to be a part of something and against something else. This is how our country has been built. This is how politics is always. Let me show you how bad this side is so you can join our side, vote for us so we can control everyone. And I'm looking at this, I'm going, this is absolutely the highest. I believe what we're experiencing is this heightened experience of what politics is meant to do. And in this, we are now seeing people die from this political partisanship. We're seeing, people who can't get health care, people who don't have the rights, people who are being held back and pushed down. And in our own teachings, we teach inclusivity. That's why I'm wearing my equality t-shirt here today, because everyone is the same. We know that on the spiritual level, but brother, I got to tell you, my human side is saying we got to do something else, because I am tired of feeling scared. I'm tired of feeling less than. And how do we rise up? So I'm in that kind of a, and again, I don't condone violence, but I
have sort of tongue-in-cheek pointed out that the way to unite all of humanity, to get us all to behave and feel as one, is intelligent space aliens.
Yeah,
Man,
brother, I'm right there with you.
you get a couple of, like a few dozen spaceships landing with, creatures with tentacles and eyes on stalks, then suddenly it doesn't matter
It
whether
doesn't
your
matter.
skin is brown or red or white or whatever. It's like, nope, we're humans
Yep.
and they're the other guys, and we don't even if they come in peace, we're still all not them.
Yeah, I'm a huge sci-fi. That's my go-to when I'm not speaking. I get home, I turn on my sci-fi. I love it. It's this great, TV series. I think they're in the third series or the third season. It's called Invasion. It's on Apple TV. And exactly what you said, brother. It's like they came down. Okay, we all come together because now we have another common enemy.
Yep. Yep. And politics our political system was invented by a bunch of wealthy white guys.
Yep. You said it. Yes, sir.
Who knew that they were doing some screwed up stuff when they did it, but they did the best that they could do. Because Thomas Jefferson knew that he shouldn't have slaves, but it was a huge economic advantage to be able to get that level of free labor. So he said we're all created equal, but he couldn't bring himself to change his participation in the system. So they knew that it wasn't done, and there was some more doing to be done, and there still is. The thing that most amazes me is that our government does not have a department of hypocrisy. Because we seem to be really good at that. And as I was thinking about
great at that.
the Department of the reason that we do not have a ministry of hypocrisy is because they're all doing it.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, partisan politics, having the two parties, the times in my life where it's worked the best is where the legislature is in one party and the executive branch is in the other party, because then you hear about all the crap that they're trying to pull. It's like, well, the executive's doing that, and the legislature's bringing them back, and the legislature's trying to do this, and there's a veto that goes on, and it winds up being a public fist fight, and we get to be aware of what the issues are, and then it matters what we say, because that's going to change the balance of power.
Absolutely.
The power is unbalanced now.
And I would also add to that, the only other thing too is having a Supreme Court that's pretty much close to being balanced. When we have an uneven Supreme Court that is leaning towards the right, I'm not going to say leaning, that is very right centric, and we have a right conservative Congress. And here's the other point that I was listening to Kamala Harris on. I think it was late time. He just got Stephen Colbert. And she was saying that she wasn't surprised at what's going on, but she was surprised at the Congress that are not doing anything. They're not doing anything. They know and they see what's going on. They see that democracy is being challenged right now. It's in fear of dying, but they're not willing to do anything. So even if we had a balanced Supreme Court, somewhat balanced, it could be a little leaning this way, whatever, and having a Congress that's willing to step up and not vote party lines. This is the problem. This is where we are. We are beginning a dictatorship. Not beginning, we're in the midst of it. I really, truly believe that is where we're going to really begin to see a world that's being created for everyone. And also to know that politics is not going to save us. It never has. I don't believe it's our saving grace. I believe we the people, let's get back down to it, we the people are here to support and to rise up together. I believe it's the people that's going to rise up and take care of each other. But this government is definitely not doing it.
Yeah, getting back to the point that I started making a little bit ago, we do know what to do about this, even when somebody's flooding the zone. And the way that it works is peaceful protest. And it turns out that it takes 3.5% of the population to engage in consistent peaceful protest, and the government falls. I mean, there are studies going back 100 years and done by the BBC, not even partisan, not even Americans. This is people who are looking at the data. And the Arab Spring happened because more than 3.5% of the population said no. That's roughly 11 million people in the United States, 3.5%. So, and we've gotten close to 10 million at some of the like the No Kings events and stuff, and those are continuing on. And what will happen is more and more people will get disenchanted and say we got to do something, and will be encouraged by the groups that are putting those protests on to go stand, on the street corner, which I've done in my little town in the suburbs here, waving a sign, and I've also marched up the Ben Franklin Parkway to the Art Museum in Philadelphia, and a couple of protests on Independence Mall, because and my favorite line from actually was the congressman from whose district is in Philadelphia is in opened the first rally, the first protest rally by saying, Philadelphia has a pretty good history with asshole kings.
Right. If you think about it, you're right.
Okay. So this is
You're absolutely
we're
right.
not doing something new. We're going back again, and so it'll
sorry.
happen with protests, and then
Yeah.
when something changes, when it becomes throw the rascals out, will we continue with a two-party system, or will somebody be able to get the idea of let's do coalition government? So that you can vote for the person who represents your views, rather than just have everybody in your neighborhood have to agree on one person. And and so Pennsylvania gets however many people in Congress is going to be. Let them be selected by the party that they're in and the stuff that they represent and what's important to you. And then I get to choose, maybe in ranked order of what's the most important to me, because all these issues are important to me. I think that the climate is important. I think when the ocean boils off, we're going to have a problem, or when it overflows, we're going to have a problem. And people don't think about that. And
our children's going to have a problem as well, And the one thing I was watching YouTube. I love YouTube. I'm a YouTube. I love going down the vortex, and sometimes I shut it off. I love the rabbit hole. And this video came up on YouTube where someone was asking someone who was a hardcore Trump supporter, and she was talking about these taxes and this and Biden, and the tax code, and we can't pay for our eggs, and Biden did this. And the man went, do you not understand that Trump created this tax code that we're still under? Even in Biden, that tax code came from Trump. And she goes, no, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, I'm going, oh, this is it. They had been conditioned to believe that we're going to vote on this side because this is what the people are telling me to do, instead of doing your own research and doing your own research and to know within, what is really going on here.
Well, and the key thing to watch for is there's a difference between the story, the talking points, and what's actually going on. And I heard a classic example of it the other day, and it was some, I think the report was, there's the situation going on, and because of the changes at the CDC and the Health and Human Services Department, and the change in the vaccine schedule, we are making our children less safe. Yeah. And this is something that is coming from, all the doctor associations, all the pediatrician associations. This has been a game changer for us. And all the old people, myself included, who remember back when there weren't vaccines against, all these diseases. I wasn't around for polio, but I have friends who were, who still can't use a hand. And
or a foot.
Yeah. And so the comment was, the things that the government is doing is making us less safe. And the response was, we are making sure that everyone is safe. It's like, you just took the question, turned it around, and lied. Yeah. No, the fact, you're making us less safe. We want to make sure everybody is safe. Well, then make sure everybody's safe. They turned the FBI into a political operation with Kash Patel at the top of it. And the first significant challenge for the FBI was the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and he screwed it up. He went on social media and announced that they had arrested somebody when in fact they were talking to somebody who they then let go. And, does that mean that Kash Patel is a jerk? No, Kash Patel was a jerk before that.
But here's
what
a
it
bigger
means
question,
is that you can't trust
Rev.
what the FBI says.
And here's a bigger question. I'm watching this. You have Kash Patel. You have leaders of all these important. You have Kennedy, who's leading, our healthcare. And I'm watching these individuals who are in leadership, and I'm going, these people are not qualified. They're taking these government jobs, giving them to people. The head of our Department of Education, which is coming down, was being led by Linda McMahon, a wrestler. So are these people being placed into these positions so we can see a failing government and we can look towards a king to save us? I mean, that's a bigger question. And I've been watching this, I'm going, how did Kash Patel get into this position, who's doing an awful job? I mean, atrocious the way he's handling the FBI. And I'm not a fan of the FBI at all, but I am a fan of efficiency and government working how it should be working.
Well, there's a comparison to be made between Indeed.com and Fox News for government jobs. Because apparently what you need to do is audition for a government job on conservative media. If you look good on TV and you cover the talking points, then you get a job in charge of an organization that you have absolutely no qualifications or capability of handling. And fortunately, because the zone is being flooded and because nobody is calling anybody to account, I mean, if you remember the Signalgate thing, where the group chat that they not only were they having a group chat about military operations, they invited a journalist into it. If that had happened to the Biden or the Obama administration, oh my God, they would have gotten out guillotines.
Oh my goodness, that is so. And I also too, if you are on a hit reality show, you'll be able to lead our military. I'm like, dude, this guy was on The Real World, San Francisco edition or Boston edition. I know Rob. I know this guy. Come on. I saw what his episodes were all, his seasons all about. And so, and Rachel, so is it this idea that if we can get more reality TV stars to lead these roles and who are, to create the biggest, viewership of, because this is a big reality show we're in right now. The viewership, the talking points, like you said, it's just, it's crazy.
If you go and look at what conservative values are, and then you see how much we're not doing to uplift conservative values. I mean, the thing that's the most interesting for me as a flashpoint is the Jeffrey Epstein files. Because what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in was atrocious. And he was enabled for a long time because his clients were very rich, powerful people. And the right is very unhappy with rich, powerful people getting away with stuff. And the worst thing they can think of is child abuse and child sexual abuse. And now these two issues are, it's like they said in Ghostbusters, don't cross the streams.
Yeah.
The streams are crossed. Yeah. What do you do about that? You have Congress, where the conservatives in Congress vote, no, we don't want to hear anything about, the truth of the biggest child sex abuse scandal in recent history.
It's so funny when, Hillary was running, and of course, when Obama was running, they, the right threw out so many false accusations against people on the left for child abuse, child pedophiles, people really calling us names and
eating babies.
Eating babies. And then you have the same group of people now willing to protect ride and die attitude to protect, this government. And there's a lot of government. Here's the one thing I do love about this and what's coming up right now. The survivors are saying, okay, screw you. You're not going to give us justice. We're going to name these people. We're going to name everybody. So these survivors are getting the list together. It's going to see the light of day. And you get to choose. Are you just going to, again, turn a blind eye, or are you going to do something? It's like, in pop culture, we have this whole thing with Diddy. Fine, and they just want to crucify him. If he was a white pop star, say Kid Rock doing this, would they be protecting him? This is crazy, dude. This is like, are you kidding me? This is happening right now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little wacky, and then you wonder, what are the conservative things that we want to protect? I was at a Catholic, like a nun's retirement home, and these are the edgy nuns. They put banners out in front of their place, and they try and be just edgy enough that the Vatican's not going to tell them to take it down.
Right.
And this was an adapted verse of scripture. Who would Jesus deport?
See,
yeah.
There you have it. Are we going to take a break to pay some bills here at the New Thought Media Network? Do we have to play some commercials, get some stuff out there? What do we got to do?
Sure. Let's do another one, and we'll talk about Anton some more.
All right, welcome back to Ministers Talking Beep, and it's
Skip.
me. Yeah, Ministers Talking Skip. We're having this very incredible, lively conversation about what's going on politically. One thing I really feel like we kind of dive into, and it's all connected right now. This what is going on in Gaza right now. And for me, it's very hard for anybody to justify the killings of millions of people. And, it is mass genocide I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing people who are being forced out of their homes. And the root of this, I remember, again, here we go, our government. I remember the root of this is, certain individuals said, wouldn't it be great to have a place for billionaires to go and play? This is the root of all of this. I mean, I don't know if people can go back and remember what was said. I'm like, I remember my teacher, Michael Beckwith, said this years ago. It's like we've taken a nightmare pill and we can't wake up. This is part of the nightmare pill.
And it's not like the issues that are going on in Gaza and Israel and the Middle East are brand new.
Right.
This is, if you're if you like reading the Bible, all the stories were set in that particular on the same set. Yep. They were built in the same location. And so this challenge and conflict has been going on for a long time, and it got worse after World War II because the powers outside of the Middle East decided, oh, this is where Israel's going to go, and we'll worry about the Palestinians later, and then never did. And the fight the argument, I'm completely against what, the Hamas attacks of October 7th.
Absolutely.
That was completely unacceptable. And the population of 2 million people have been pushed to the brink. It's nothing to condone, but it's certainly can understand how that sort of thing can happen. So probably would have been a good idea to head it off at the pass and do something different beforehand. Just saying.
Are we again going back to this idea that we've been talking about, and I talked about in the beginning of this conversation, is we are continue to fix this low level, or to have and something to emerge from this lower vibration into more lower vibrational activity. Yeah, Hamas, completely stop. Let's stop this killing of people, but also Israel, you can't combat this on the same level. And if you do, it's just going to exacerbate and create more people to not like you in the Middle East, or to hate you, and more people that's going to hate Israel. You have generations and generations and generations of folks who are going to perpetrate more violence.
Yep. And eventually there's a tipping point where it comes back around. And the challenge is nobody can get a good vision of what it looks like once this has reached a stable point. And, so what does a world that works for everyone look like? Where do the Palestinians live? How much territory do the Israelis have? How much territory do the Ukrainians have? How much sovereignty do they give up in order to be safe from the Russians? I mean, these are all details that, as we talk about a world that works for everyone, need to get worked out. And those are the parts that are really not easy. My daughter, when she was in college, visited Israel, and she came back and she said, well, know what the problem is? And she explained it very succinctly, is that Israel is a Jewish state and a democracy. And the only way, if it's truly a democracy and you've let everybody have a vote, then the first vote of all the people who are in Israel would be, do we want to continue being a Jewish state? And the answer would be no, because they're outnumbered, which is why it's still occupied territories, because that way you can have people who are living there who don't get to vote.
Powerful.
So that's the tension that's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that needs to be addressed. And it's never helped by having the people who, in this case, are oppressed saying, oh, yeah, well, we need to destroy Israel. Well, we need to completely obliterate Israel, because there's no way that's going to happen either.
And I think, too, that we have not sat down and had a conversation, with each other, saying, what does it look like to have a world that works for everyone? How can we support your people, and versus how can we protect the land or get more land? That's a bigger question, which I don't believe our world leaders are willing to sit down. Some of us are, but to say, what does it look like to have a world that works for everyone, versus how can we protect and, conserve what we have?
Mm-hmm.
And until we're willing to sit down and listen, really listen, but then we also have, things that are happening, still in the Ukraine. This war is not even near to be over. And Russia now is starting to send drones into Poland.
Mm-hmm.
This intent to take over Europe and beyond is still being driven by this egoic way of thinking, this masculine, patriarchal way of being. I'm the strong man. And this is, I just think all the male leaders need to sit down, let the women breathe, let the women lead.
There's a certain magic that can happen in that one. All right.
Absolutely. And hey, Rev Riz is on watching us. Hey, Riz, what's happening, brother? He gives us a thumbs up in the chat. Absolutely.
And I'm just going to make the observation that we're 41 minutes into Ministers Talking Stuff. And
I know.
There is so much stuff to talk about. But I'm
what
going
else?
to go back
What's on your mind?
Ernest Holmes said that
Oh,
our opportunity, our obligation is to look a fact in the face and know something better.
okay.
So we spent 40 minutes talking about the fact, and they're true and they
Yeah,
suck. Or if we're going to
yeah.
use the spiritual term, they sucketh.
They they suck it.
They sucketh.
They suck it.
It,
Yes,
it,
yes,
it
yes,
has
yes.
happened and it sucketh. And now what? Now what? And
Yeah.
how do we remain, when we want to live in peace, what does peace look like? What am I willing to let go of in order to have peace? What is it that I'm unwilling to let go of when it comes to peace?
Yeah.
Where's the change? Where's the shift? Because we know damn well that if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to keep getting what we've been getting.
That's it. You
So,
cannot solve the problem on the level of the problem. And
and
so I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
as lovely as it would be if the problem is solved because those assholes change the way they're behaving, we don't have any control. That's not in my toolkit. So there's something else. And we get to take that into our spiritual practice.
I was
I don't need.
asked the other day at our community, and I'm going to get to a solution here. I was
Okay.
asking our community because, Gavin Newsom has made a name for himself by being this bratty memes and doing the same thing Trump did. And we were sitting in staff meeting at church and we were going, and someone in the staff meeting says, are you really loving what Gavin's doing? I'm going, there's a human side of me that's saying, yeah, let's, but there's a part of me in my spirit that says, if we fight fire with fire, we only get more fire. So, and then so the other side of me is, well, we take the high road. When they go low, we go high, and we're still here. So do we continue this mentality that eventually, because I truly believe this is a cycle, and eventually this is going to shift? And your dog agrees with me.
My dog votes yes.
Your dog
My
votes yes.
my dog votes yes, and he's trying to vote the two dogs who live up the street off the island.
I love it. I love it. And so I love what you said in the beginning about us putting on our boots and getting out in the corner and walking and protesting. It only takes 3% of our U.S. population to get out to make a difference. I've seen this difference in our standing up for what we believe globally. There have been more protests I've seen globally for what's happening with us in the United States than I've ever seen before. I've never seen so many protests all over to help us to rise up. And we've stopped calling them protests. So what we've decided to call them is uprising.
Uprising. Oh, let's have an uprising.
Let's have an uprising. Let's have an uprising in consciousness. Let's have an uprising in love. Let's have an uprising in our intention. For me, part of it is I intentionally don't watch the news. I don't. I know I'm going to get what I'm going to get because if I'm going to help to have an uprising, I can't be brought down because I'm very triggered by the news. And I know that I'm going to hear exactly what I need to hear. I have a housemate or I have, people in the office will say, did you hear? Once I heard that, my mind goes, okay, so what do I need to pray for? Prayer is the answer, as Owner's Home says. Prayer is the answer. Speaking these words into the law. And sometimes, Rev, people are like, when something happens, like a shooting or something, we go, you're in my prayers. It seems like it's dropping on deaf ear. But I truly believe that. If I can pray and stand in what I believe consciousness creates form. Form only follows consciousness. So I got to go back to the root of what I truly believe.
Yep. And when a shooting happens and you say, oh, my thoughts and prayers are with the victims, but your job is selling bullets and you keep selling them, maybe it's time to look at a different possibility.
Do you remember that old New Thought principle we used to say, we treat and we move our feet?
Mm-hmm.
There's room for both, right? We treat and move our feet.
That's the spiritual practice as far as I'm concerned. And keep coming back to that over and over and over again. We can look at the world and say, this is not working the way that I want it to be working, and get completely wrapped up in our judgment about how it ought to be or what ought to change or what they ought to do. Mm-hmm. And the spiritual practice always comes down to the same thing, which is to get quiet, to let go of our attachment to thinking that we're already right.
Yeah.
To open to a new possibility, invite the infinite to suggest something to us, and then let go of everythting else. Let go of the rest of it. Our friend James Mellon says, I know nothing, now what can I know? Let's clear the slate, because if I'm bringing my agenda into this, there's no room for spirit to say anything. If the voice of God says, do this, and you go, nah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do something called the set aside prayer quite often. God, help me set aside everything I think I know about politics or ministry or relationships or partnerships, so I may have a new experience. Because listen, we are a New Thought community. The basis of New Thought is we must reach out of the box of our beliefs, our traditions, our religion, to have an expansive experience. So we go back to why we are in New Thought, because these old ways just didn't suit us anymore. I'm a recovering Baptist. I'm a recovering Baptist.
Amen, brother.
So how do we take this New Thought principles, and let's have a new thought around politics? Because how we're doing it right now, it's not working. It's just not working.
Yep. All right. Is that the last word?
I think so. Are we done? Are we done?
Yeah. I mean, we can keep going until next week when.
I know. No. We're
when Z and Briz get back, but
I know, right? I love this. I love when I can get on in this network and speak my heart around politics. Ta-da! And everything else is so good. This is amazing. Great to see you.
Skip Jennings, wonderful to join you on Ministers Talk and Skip today. I'm Bill Marchiony, New Thought Philly. So we got opposite ends of the continent anchored down, and the rest of the world opening as well. So there's a whole bunch of shows coming up on New Thought Media Network that I don't have the list of.
Well, I can tell you one that's coming up at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is the High Vibe Hour with myself and Reverend Julie Moret and Cynthia Ambrose. Cynthia Ambrose is actually with Rev Briz in Vegas right now. So it's just going to be myself and Julie and Reverend Julie, and we're talking about nutrition and taking care of the body inside and outside and feeding the soul. So tune in at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. In a couple hours, we're going to be dropping back right here, and I'll be wearing the same outfit. I ain't changing.
Cool. And I'm going to continue wearing my Anton sweatshirt because
I love it. I guess I'll see you in less than a couple months. I'll see you very soon.
In a few weeks, yeah. It's going to be the beginning of October.
It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to being there. Unity. So don't forget to sign up for this conference, this Anton retreat. It's going to change your life. So if you're on the border, you got to say yes. This is your yes.
Yeah, even the virtual one. See you, Skip.
Yeah. All right, peace and blessings.
Please
Bye.
help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.